One Way Fighting.
Hello, you're through to Neill at One Way Fighting. I'm joined today with Ashley King. Now, Ashley's going to be jumping on and doing a podcast with us from the future, so let's just hope this goes all right, because I know Ashley from when I used to work back in the day, and he's a fucking nightmare to deal with. Oh, this podcast then, we're going to touch on two fights probably. We're going to look forward to see what's coming up on the UFC, because Ashley's big on the UFC rather than the boxing. So we'll start with Stipe NGannou, because that's the next big event, or it is for me anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go, mate. What's your take on this?
So with this one, I mean, I've got this strong feeling, and I can't shake it. I feel Ngannou by KO. I do. And but when I think about it, I think from the very first fight. So if you go from the very first fight, we've seen that Stipe can take him down. We've seen Ngannou can land the shot to rock Stipe. And when you go back and watch the first fight, Stipe got rocked. He did get rocked. But he was able to kind of utilize the movement with the wrestling. And I think with this time, the game plan's not going to change. Both men are going to have the same game plan. But I just feel Ngannou is just going to catch him this time. I really do. And, you know, this is coming from someone who I like Stipe. I do. But I've just got this feeling he's gonna catch him. He's going to catch him, and we're going to have a new heavyweight champ. That's what I feel. What about you?
I reckon, to be honest with you, mate, I see it going the same way. I mean, I can see early on, if he gets caught, he gets caught. I think if he's going to knock him out, he's going to catch him with one of them uppercuts, mate, because you've seen that a couple of times in the first fight, didn't you? Yeah. You see, the thing is, when he's shooting for the takedown, that second time he caught him with that uppercut, that was where it was going.
Yeah.
Problem I've got is, though, first round, Stipe's going to go in. And, you know, obviously he'll be training from there, Ngannou, but he was right down here that time. That first single leg that he went for, he didn't do any of the basics. When you're starting training, doing the wrestling, like as a beginner, first thing you learn is throw the wizard in, get your leg to the outside, control the head. He didn't do one of them. And Stipe went for the single leg knowing that he was so big that he wasn't going to be able to double leg him straight away while he still had his cardio. And I just see the first round going like that. And then he's so big, his cardio's gone after first round.
So that's the thing, though. When you go back and watch the first fight, yeah, he got tired, but he was still able to rock him. I think it was in the fourth or the fifth round. So Stipe was landing some good shots, and Ngannou was backing up. And Ngannou just threw this one hand, and you could just see Stipe wobbled, and then eventually he got the takedown. But it just takes that one to wobble him. In regards to the wrestling, like, let's be honest, have we seen Ngannou be tested in the wrestling since that fight? We haven't really. We've seen Curtis Blades. I think it's been a while since I've seen a fight, but I think Curtis Blades got rocked, and then he went for the takedown, and obviously then he got finished by him. Cain Velasquez, again, he got rocked before he went for the takedown, and then obviously he got finished then. So I feel like we haven't really seen his wrestling be tested. So yeah, we're clearly going to see it in this fight, but I've just got a feeling that the same thing's going to happen. Stipe is going to come in. You know, is he going to try and wrestle straight away? What weight is he going to come in at? I mean, against DC, he looked light. Like, he looked in phenomenal shape, and he's always in good shape. But against DC, I seen a difference. He was lighter. So what kind of Stipe are we going to see? It's exciting.
Yeah, I think maybe he was a bit lighter, because I think he maybe was, I don't know, I think when you wrestle with someone like DC, you've got to have that cardio.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a fit guy, but he's just got this insane cardio. And you've seen him with, like, I mean, Dan Henderson maybe was a bit small, but he's a is he Olympic wrestler, I think, Dan Henderson, and he got ragdolled. Ragdolled everywhere. Like, he threw him in the air at one point, DC. So I think maybe that was Stipe working on his cardio. But touching on what you were saying about the striking. Did you not think his head movements and that was good? And he caught Ngannou a couple of times with a couple of decent digs.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that with this one, it could go that way, but I just see Ngannou. I just see him having the power and having the patience this time to knock him out. I think Stipe's obviously been in quite a few wars, and I don't know. I just don't know if he's got that chin there.
It's
with this, I
interesting.
don't know what it is. I just feel Ngannou is he's just gonna catch him. Mark my words. Mark my words.
It's interesting. Stipe managed to get it was sort of like a TKO, wasn't it? On DC got it on Stipe, didn't he? And then Ngannou hit him with a couple, and his chin stood the test of them.
But that's the thing with the shot that DC threw. Stipe didn't see it. It was over the top when they were in the clinch. They were exiting the clinch. Caught it, didn't see it. It's always, you'll know this yourself. It's always the shots that you don't see.
Yeah.
But with Ngannou, I mean, he's just so powerful. Like, watch that fight against can't pronounce his name. Joran Rosenstrike.
Rosenstruck, is it?
I'd say Rosenstrike. Yeah. When he fought him, it's like he had no regard for the power of Rosenstrike. He just marched forward, just watching him just swing. And if you watch the exchange, DC does a good one in like slow motion. And Ngannou gets caught with 2 punches, but it just doesn't affect him. And he's just like, I don't care. I just need to land this one. He lands that one, and it was all over. Obviously, Rosenstrike's he hasn't really shown much wrestling. Like Stipe is going to obviously use the wrestling, which obviously is going to play advantage. But can he get the takedown? And if he can he keep him down? I don't know.
Yeah, I see him doing that all day. Did you see that was the other thing when he was doing the double legs? He literally, I mean, he shouldn't be able to double leg someone like that. First of all, Ngannou didn't really look like he knew how to sprawl, if anything else. And when he was doing the double legs, he was driving him, running it across the cage at one point. And I feel like he managed his distance well. When he was on the inside, he did have head movement, and I mean, he's got such a reach, Ngannou, so he did stick him a few times. But like I say, how long ago was that fight? About a year and a half.
You know what? It might be more, because I think that was before the trilogies with DC. You know,
right?
So because he fought Ngannou at the same time DC fought was it Volkan Ozdemir. Both defended the belts, and then they set up the DC, and then they've fought 3 times.
Ozdemir was a while ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that fight was a while ago.
Do you think he can pick up that much wrestling in that time?
What if he doesn't need to, though? This is what I'm saying. What if he doesn't need to? I mean, so when he fought Curtis Blades so he fought Stipe, he lost. He then fought Derek Lewis, and that obviously nothing happened in that fight. Really, apparently he was suffering from a mental blockage type thing. He was scared, to be honest. I think the Stipe fight affected him so bad he lost all of his confidence, and I actually feel like he carried that over in the Curtis Blades fight. But then as soon as he caught him, that confidence just went straight back up, and then he was kind of like, no, like, I'm back. And then you watch the Cain Velasquez fight. I mean, again, Cain Velasquez tried to go in for the takedown. Stipe didn't. Ngannou didn't even need to use the wrestling. Caught him and he was out. So I think this is all well and good. They're saying, if he gets like takedown, could he defend it, or can he get back up, or can he keep him down? But what if he doesn't need it? What if Stipe just comes out and then Ngannou just flatlines him? That's what I kind of see happening, to be honest. Got a strong feeling on it.
I feel though, like on the stand up, the shots that Ngannou got off. I mean, the later ones, he had that cardio issue where he was knackered. You could see by the second round he was exhausted.
Yeah,
he reminded me of Rumble Johnson when he fought DC. where DC was just able to clamber on his back and just choke him. And when you get that much muscle mass, you've got to be able to feed it with oxygen in the later rounds. And by round 2, he looked knackered. I feel like if he's going to knock him out, it's going to be in the first or the second.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think after that, you see, I think Stipe wanted to knock him out because the
You reckon that's what he's going for?
Yeah, because the 3rd and 4th round, I remember it. I can't remember who the ref was. Was it Herb Dean or someone? And he was saying to him, "You've got to get up if you're not doing nothing." And then Stipe was just dropping elbows from like basically. Ngannou was in fucking turtle, and he was just in sort of side control from there, just throwing elbows and then hitting the head, stop and get his breath, and then do that. And I was thinking, take his back. All he's doing is covering. Take his back and choke him. But I think Stipe was, either aware of how much time he had left, or am I going to be able to choke this fucker out? He's just so big.
Yeah, and then go for that, and then Ngannou, I wouldn't say technically gets up, but just powers out of it. It's hard to say because he does it. Obviously, you watch that first fight, he definitely his gas tank went. But even though his gas tank went, he was still able to land shots that hurt Stipe, and he can. So we know from the first fight, he can carry that power over into the 4th and 5th round. He can, but it's kind of like it's not going to be a volume punch. It's just going to be literally just one and done. So can he do it? I feel like as what you said, first 2 rounds, I think that's where Ngannou's gonna. I just think that's where he's going to finish Stipe. I really do. I mean, both guys have gone better since you watched them. Both of them have. Obviously, we don't know how good Ngannou's wrestling defense is. We haven't really seen it. He's fought 2 obviously unbelievable wrestlers, but he didn't have to use it. He finished them before he went for the takedown. So we don't know.
We have seen how good it is. He didn't have it. He didn't have any. We see that Stipe's fight. Yeah, fuck all.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though. But then since then, he's fought 2 unbelievable wrestlers, and he's not needed it. So that's the question going into this one. Does he need it?
Yeah. I'm basically at a crossroads, right? My little theory on everything is, if you're unsure on who's going to win, who would you rather come onto your bed in a club?
I mean,
who would you rather have to deal with? Tell them to fuck off.
I'll probably say Stipe only because he seems like a nicer guy. I feel like Ngannou.
Let's say he's a prick and he's going to back your bed unless you tell him no.
Ngannou, there'll be a language problem. There'll be a language issue. So it'll be kind of like I don't think he'll know what I'm going to say, and he'll just hit me anyway. So I say neither.
Yeah, no, you never want either.
Who would you?
Well,
Ngannou, please.
I feel like Stipe will win, but I definitely wouldn't want to take a dig off Ngannou. That's why it's just I usually go to that as, you know what? Who would you rather fight? That's what I always go to. If you got pushed to it.
So
they both kick me ass, but
Stipe then, because I think Ngannou. I said this to me, mate, Paul. I was like, Ngannou's probably. He gives me that same feeling as what Anthony Johnson does. Just like you just see him and you get nervous. There's like a nervous energy. And that's what I feel like when I watch Ngannou. And there's not a lot of fighters, I think, that kind of have that presence. I suppose it's almost like a Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is another one. Like, funny guy, love him and stuff. But you watch his fights and you just like, people like that I think are scary because you have to put them away. If you don't put them away, he's just, the power that he possesses, that one punch power is ridiculous. What I mean, did you watch the fight with Curtis Blades?
Yeah. I was going to say.
Good example.
Do you know who used to give me that feeling? Or this is what could happen to Ngannou?
Me?
No, never.
I gave you that feeling. No.
If I could have anyone come onto me bed, it would be you. But Junior Dos Santos, before he lost twice to Cain Velasquez, you saw there might be something to do with it, but
I completely agree with you, to be honest. So when I was watching Junior Dos Santos, before the Cain Velasquez fight. Sorry, no, it was after the first Cain Velasquez fight.
He did it and then he lost the second two, didn't he?
Yeah. So after the first fight, again, people correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he fought Frank Mir. And I remember when that fight, I think it was Frank Mir. And I remember thinking like, what is the point in this fight? I was thinking at the time, I was like, Frank Mir, he's got no chin. Like Gene DeSantis is just gonna walk through him, and he did. He walked through him, and I was like, who? Like, who can beat him? And then, so there's a thing to this, because this is when I was like, I was obsessed with like Cain Velasquez. I was, and they just fought, the UFC just fought out Strikeforce, and a bunch of fighters came over, and one of the fighters was Bigfoot Silva.
Yeah,
and they gave Bigfoot Silva Cain Velasquez in his debut in the UFC, and it was a bloodbath. It was just ridiculous. I mean, Cain Velasquez was just motivated and used the skill. I mean, just wrestled him and ground the pound, and it was like, and I remember his attitude at the time was just like I know how good I am, and at the time nobody was calling Junior out. You know, you were saying there about Junior gives you that feeling a bit like, oh, like, yeah, I wouldn't like to like, walk into him and stuff, but it's like Cain Velasquez was the only guy that was calling him out, and he was like, no, I want the rematch and stuff. Like, I promise you, the second fight will be different. And that second fight is actually my, I'll probably say it's my favorite fight favorite fight ever, favorite MMA fight ever.
I remember setting my alarm clock and watching it. But what my point with him was, though, after that second Cain Velasquez fight, you can argue USADA had something to do with it, but his career just seemed to decline then. Not like decline, he still had wins after it. But if Ngannou loses again to Stipe, will that same thing happen? He'll be one of them fighters you're excited to see, or will he be not necessarily found out, but something happens in the head?
So that's the thing. So I think you kind of bringing it back to the wrestling. I don't know. Like we know from the first fight the weakness is the wrestling, but he's gone on this unbelievable tear and fought arguably two of the best wrestlers in the heavyweight division. I mean, Curtis Blades, unbelievable wrestler. Cain Velasquez, unbelievable wrestler. And he hasn't had to use the wrestling. Again, against Curtis Blades, he got rocked. He rocked Curtis Blades, and then Curtis Blades went for the takedown. So, maybe that's why he got away with it type thing. But again, I don't know, like, he's obviously, so from that first Stipe fight, he obviously must have suffered a lot of anxiety from that. And I'm thinking the first thing he's probably going to do after that fight is go to his coach and be like, I need to learn wrestling here, or I need to learn how to get up. I'm not going to be taking anyone down, but teach me how to get up if someone does take me down. So I think we're going to see him better. But I know what you mean. Is it going to be enough to, to get up from Stipe?
I'll touch on 2 points you made there. The getting up one first. At one point in the third or fourth, Stipe literally got up, turned his back, turned round, and he still hadn't got up. So he just went and gone on his knees and just started. But the main one, where you're saying about they were unable to wrestle him, you'll notice the first rounds where you're going to have the problem wrestling him. In the later rounds, he's going to be gassed. Stipe's head movements and the fact that he stood up and traded in the first round was how he got him down the first time. Because you're not getting Ngannou down because he's got good knees. He threw a head kick in the first round. He's dangerous if you're shooting. He always loves throwing that uppercut. If you're shooting and changing levels, your chin's on display for that uppercut. He pushed him against the fence, got him in control on the fence, and then took the single leg. And not many people want to track him down because you're walking into range. And that's what Stipe did difference. He had the head movements and the ability to dodge those few shots, get him on the cage wall, and then work the takedown. Now, you've got to have a good stand-up game up there, which we know Stipe has. I mean, even...
Which he does. His fundamentals are unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's the difference between Stipe getting that wrestling game going from round one to other fighters where they might just try and shoot centre cage, and you're going into someone. I mean, he doesn't even have to sprawl. He doesn't have to throw the wizard in, take out. He's just got to have a bit of distance management. Ngannou, he just has to take a half step back in some cases, and then he's got you changing levels, and he's caught you. When he had him against the cage wall and took that first single leg, he wore him down from that point on. And then he was so tired, he was able to double leg him, which was just like, you'd never have thought he'd have done it with someone that big, just because, I mean, his defense for that was to walk backwards until eventually he was at the cage wall. That wasn't a good defense.
Do you think it could be as well a case of like a confidence issue as well? The fact that in the first round, like, he threw a lot of shots at Stipe, he couldn't get the finish. Do you reckon that could have played a factor as well of his confidence?
Yeah, I felt maybe his range, trying to find range. I think Stipe was very, I mean, you look at the Overeem knockout, Overeem was in the pocket with him. And Ngannou threw a punch, which was one of the most incredible punches you'll ever see. But it was wide. It was wide, and it was from low. And you've got a high-level striker like Alistair Overeem and didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
So Stipe knew to stay out of that pocket, still managed to get him on the cage wall and then worked it from there. And I think that first round, like you say, I wouldn't put my house on it. I always say that just to back myself up, like, but I wouldn't put my house on it. But I know if you forced my hand, I'd put it on Stipe, like, because I just think he's there. I remember seeing him on Joe Rogan when they said, "What sort of training do you do?" And he went, "Well, I don't go lift weights because I'm a fighter. I go in and I fight for like fucking 3-4 hours. All he does is, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, he'll do strength and conditioning and stuff like that, and specialized training, but his predominant training is just going in and sparring. And there's nothing you can do with someone who's got that high level fight IQ, I don't think.
That's the thing, and that's the thing about Stipe. His intelligence is phenomenal. Like, I like watching him in kind of the rematches, like with the one with DC. Different fighter. I thought he was a different fighter. Like, I'll talk about his shape when he came in. I've never seen him in that type of shape, and it was quite nice as well for like an actual champion to come in like in such good shape, like a heavyweight champion to come in such good like shape. But I just don't think. I honestly think with Ngannou, I think Ngannou's going to catch him and knock him out. I really do.
Can't say.
So you use the I'll bet my house on it. I use both guys can win. Both guys can win. So I'm right either way. But I think Ngannou. Ngannou.
Yeah, I'm going to bet Stipe, mate. We'll have one post fight reaction and see who's got the last laugh. I won the last one. I called Jan Blachowicz or whatever you call him against Izzy. I called him. I thought he was going to win the other day, so I'm 1-0 now. Blachowicz.
Did you see? Yeah, no, I said at a lasagna.
Yeah. You had a lasagna.
You know what? You know why you say that as a lasagna? Because Darren Till said it on Instagram, and I literally laughed my head off. Now I can't stop saying it. At a lasagna. Yeah. Hey, Israel, if you're watching, mate, I'm sorry.
Trust me, he doesn't watch this shit, lad.
Hey, you might be, mate. I'll get him on. We'll get him on. But I'll be honest. That fight, bad saying this, but like, I don't like Jan. To me, I'll always remember him as a mid-card fighter, a mid-level fighter. And I'll be honest, it's hard for me to adjust for him to be the champ because the light heavyweight division is so weak. I mean, John Jones has just dominated it, and like when I got into MMA, the light heavyweight division was unbelievable. It was like Chuck Liddell, Van Pace Jackson, like all these like amazing big names, and like I mean, my favorite fighter is Shogun Rua, and like
I just shared the Hendo Rua fight today on the Facebook page.
I won't watch that because he lost. I won't watch that. Well, Shogun's he's a conversation for another day because I'll go into deep lengths about Shogun. Like, I mean, I've got a tattoo the same area as what Shogun has. Let me show you. That's for you, Shogun, mate. That's how obsessed I am with him. So we're
Oh,
going
you'll
to
be
that
showing
one.
off your tats, lads.
Got
So
it, mate?
we'll touch on the next one, lads. Let's get in. So they're getting the crowd
Masvidal.
back. Yeah, Masvidal,
Yeah.
they're getting the crowd back for it, though. It's in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. And the crowd's back for that. So it'll be a different fight, possibly, with that aspect. But
Yeah.
Jorge Masvidal versus Usman, man. What are your thoughts on that?
With that one, treat as the first one. I think game plans are going to be maybe similar. I think it's a bit different because I'll be honest. If we talk about Usman's kind of he's a little bit of a different attitude. Go back and watch all of his interviews. He always says, I don't like to finish the fight. I like to dominate every single round, every single minute. That's why I always take it to a decision. Now, with George Masvidal, he's not saying that. He's saying, I want to finish him. I want to hurt him. I want to finish him. And I think it's a mixture between two things. I think he's generally disappointed in his performance because you're the champion. Now, why are you calling out Masvidal? You've already beat him. You can call out, anyone else, but you want to call out Masvidal again, right? Okay. So there's something there that he's like, I want to get that rematch in, and I want to beat him decisively, and I want to finish him. And there's also a sense as well that does he like, because he finished Kobe Covington in the 5th round. He finished Gilbert Burns, and I'm thinking, okay, I think he's got a bit of a taste now for knocking people out and finishing people. So I'm thinking maybe that's kind of going to play a factor. But is wrestling? I mean, we always say about his wrestling, like his wrestling's phenomenal, but like his striking's come on leap and bounds now. I mean, he finished Gilbert Burns, utilizing that jab. So it's definitely going to be a different fight from the first fight, but I think it's going to be playing to more Usman. I don't see George Masvidal winning this fight. I don't.
I don't, based off the first fight, the way it was controlled. But do you not think the fact that he took the last fight on 6 days' notice is going to mean that he might come in as a different fighter?
For Masvidal?
Yeah.
I mean, cardio-wise, maybe. Game plan-wise, maybe. But then what would his game plan be? Like, if I was Masvidal coach, I'll be thinking, what would the game plan be? Like, his wrestling is so good in it. But then you watch the first fight, and it didn't actually get a lot of takedowns. It was mainly clinch work, wasn't it? The foot stamps. I think he did take him down a few times, but I don't know if he was able to keep him down.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch the fight back, but I don't think it was a complete shutdown in regards to the wrestling. I think Masvidal did quite well against the wrestling. It was just the clinch work.
I think personally, when you get a wrestler like that at that level, or like some sort of sambo or whatever it is, your footwork is the 100% what you've got to do, because they track you down and force you against the cage wall. If they get you, on the floor, your cardio is now 25% less next round if you manage to survive the round. Your footwork is key, because I always said this is going off point, but when McGregor lost to Khabib, I said before the fight, Khabib's going to go to take it down. He's going to grab whatever limbs he gets. He's good at distance management. He should be flicking out something, whether it's little feints to the hand, throw kicks out at half, just feinted kicks, and then look for the knee, the uppercut that McGregor always throws back from the left. I said, that's what he should be looking for. And then if he's not coming off with that, he's got to have reactions like that to circle out. Because if he goes backwards with a wrestler like Usman or Khabib, they are tracking you down towards a cage wall.
Yeah.
They've got to turn the corner if you've circled out. So they've either got to take a wide side step and then circle the back foot out like you'd pivot in basketball or something, and just change that angle straight away, because then they've got to turn then and reset. So you've always got to, after you've thrown your combination, you've got to circle out and reset and change the angle constantly. That, I always think that's the key with a wrestler. And what you find is Did you see Darren Till and Tyson Fury when they did?
When they were like they were like training together.
Did you think his footwork looked all right, and it looked quite good when they were going through some of the drills?
Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch it back. I don't didn't really study it, but why? What did you think it was, or?
No, it's just some of the side steps that he was doing. It is generally what I was thinking. You know, when you've got a wrestler, that they're the type of sort of. Darren Till was like saying something to him. He picked it up like that. Don't get me wrong, boxers go on the front foot and hold the leg out for a wrestler, but that type of sidestep and movement and circling out is what I think. I mean, there'll be people commenting here saying, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is how I feel about it, but fuck them. I personally feel that you've got to change the angle, because a wrestler like that's going to track you down onto a cage wall. And I just feel like when Masvidal goes back in, his stand-up game's unbelievable. He's KOing everyone.
Yeah,
they've got all these videos of him like he's in the Matrix and that. If he can learn to get away from those takedowns, then the game could be his. I mean, Usman's a good striker, like you say, but it's like when you see boxers punched in air, you try and take someone down and don't get them. You're the one who's shooting and not getting nothing. The other one's taking a sidestep and circling out. It's you who's blowing at the end of the round.
Yeah, well, the first fight was a bit weird as well, because Masvidal broke his nose. He broke Usman's nose, which I think played a little factor in it as well. I just think for that fight, I just think we haven't seen the best Usman yet. I mean, his last fight kind of, I say shocked me, because I never really look forward to an Usman fight. I don't know what it is about him. I can't really get behind him.
He doesn't excite me.
Doesn't
excite
me.
The Covington fight.
Personality. It's quite fake, I think, his personality. I mean, you'll see all this on YouTube. There's like different sides and traits of Usman. Like when Ben Askren you said he refers to him as Marty, and there's a clip on YouTube when it shows him when he was in there doing that college wrestling, and it was Marty Usman or Marty something from Nebraska or something, and then obviously he changes like persona to like the Nigerian man. Yeah, it's just like, you know. But then, okay, take his personality and everything aside, his actual fighting. Yeah, I can't see anyone beating him in a long time, and that's saying something, because the division is so good. Like, I want to see the rematch with Kobe Covington. Like, I'm a big fan of Kobe Covington, and I like his personality. He's exciting. It's like, you know, you bring it back to the original.
I wouldn't want to hang around with him, but
I don't know.
It's entertaining to watch. Like, it's entertaining to watch. Yeah,
I love him.
I can imagine.
He just ruffles feathers. I like that. But that's the thing, though. He makes it exciting to watch, like with his trash talk. I mean, go back to Chael Sonnen. I mean, Chael Sonnen fought Anderson Silva, and like the stuff he was saying, it reels you in. And then obviously the next big one was Conor McGregor, and you know that the Josie Aldo fight was ridiculous to me.
They put up the picture of Aldo and shouting "Error" in was it Rio or was it Sao Paulo? I was talking about this the other day. That for me, that was the most exciting combat sport. We worked together. We worked together when that was happening.
Yeah, 2012 was it? Maybe.
Yeah, it's going back like a good 9-10 years ago.
I might be wrong about that, actually. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember the build up to it, because I remember. So go back in time. Josie Aldo was a guy that, like, you know, beating everyone. Wasn't really getting the finishes, but like he'll, you know, grind out a decision and stuff. And it's like, so he knocked out Chad Mendes, and then from then, I think the only finish then was a finish against the Korean Zombie, and that was because the Korean Zombie got injured. I don't remember being another finish. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Could be wrong. But Conor McGregor was like, he had this different attitude, though. It was kind of an attitude of like, I don't even care about Jose Aldo. I just want the belt. Like, I don't care about you. And I love people with that attitude. And obviously he came out, and obviously, 13 seconds. I mean, I mean, that is confidence. With McGregor, again, McGregor's probably we'll have to have another separate conversation about McGregor because he's like, you can go on for hours about McGregor, about his mentality and where he is now and stuff. But back then, if you just done about the Josie Aldo build up, that it couldn't have been any better. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, you've got your Khabibs and your McNuggets or whatever. I'm not into all that. I just love any fighter that puts on a display. I remember people saying to me, where we are in Gran Canaria, there's a couple of guys that were like, we're all Khabib and this. And they're like, oh, we beat your guy. And I'm like, I don't know what my accent sounds like. I'm from fucking Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm not Irish, mate. Not from Dublin.
He's not my guy. I'm here to watch a good fight. I don't give a shit who wins as long as it's entertaining. But the pair of them, to have them both at the same time, both sort of like, you know, competing at the same time. I mean, I just wish, I felt like, you know, what I was saying about coming back to him before, and that's what he should have done. I felt like the only reason Khabib, for me, hit him with that overhand was because he was worried about Khabib's game.
Oh, classic wrestler overhand. Same thing with Meko Krokop and Kevin Randleman. Kevin Randleman faked with the takedown and then comes over the top. And that McGregor says that was like an overhand from guard or something. It was like just a classic wrestler overhand. I love watching that fight though, the Khabib and McGregor fight, because like that, I mean, that was terrifying when like Khabib had him on the floor and he was like dog now, and he was just pounding him. And like you can tell McGregor was literally like, please, like calm the fuck down. He was literally like, it's just business, like please, like fucking calm down. Mate, he's I wish he came back, you know. Like if I could speak to Khabib's mum, I would just say, please, like just let him come back for 1 or 2. Do you know what I mean? Khabib's mum, if you're listening, like let him come back for just 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Come on, Khabib's mum.
I think, to be honest with you, he's let down by the sort of, there's so many big fighters at this sort of level, but there's none that do what he does.
Yeah.
You know, who's the big fighter in it? Imagine GSP was still fighting regular now in his prime. You'd think that, you know, at least he's got that good, like you used to call it the lay and pray, didn't you? The GSP sort of style. Yeah. On the ground, that would have been an interesting fight. Usman, I think, if he came back to fight Usman and do the two weights, because he struggles to make that weight.
Yeah, he did do. That's how the fight fell through with Tony Ferguson one time. He collapsed or something because he couldn't make the weight. And you hear stories from DC and stuff, like AKA when they train and stuff. Khabib he's taking down heavyweights.
Yeah,
like he takes down Luke Rockhold and stuff. He's another really good wrestler and stuff with a good top game. So he can do it, but then it's like what excites him. Like I get it when Dana White was like, I'm going to speak to Khabib, and like, I mean, Dana White just doesn't take no for an answer, does he? He's like, you know, he hasn't officially said no yet. And Khabib was there the next day, like, yeah, I've said no, like, no, man. And then it's like, yeah, with Khabib and stuff, it's like there's no fight out there that excites him. Like the only fight that I'd want to see at lightweight is not Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
To me, that if I was Khabib, I'd be thinking, if I want to test, okay, so forget like revenue and ticket sales and money. If you're just gonna go for like style wise, choose Charles Oliveira, because he's my dark horse to run through the division. I think he's got everything together. Everything.
It's interesting because you look at, I mean, I hate saying Edson Barboza's BJJ black belt and that, because he got rear naked by Cerrone, who's good on the ground, but you know, I'm putting him out there as if Barboza's one of the top on the ground. Barboza's known predominantly for his kicks and his stand-up game, but he got ragdolled by Khabib, and you've seen the look on his face of horror. Oliveira, you feel he's 10 times higher up on the ground than your Barbozas and that. So it'd be interesting to see how he'd deal with him on the ground.
Yeah. Like we seen when Tony Ferguson fought Charles Oliveira. I mean, I was one of them. I was took back. Like, just in regards to the wrestling aspect, I mean, we all said, like, with the fight with Khabib, I mean, you know, he's going to get taken down, but then with his submissions and everything, and Charles Oliveira just shut him down, wrestled him, almost submitted him in the first round, but the buzzer went. And I think back now, and I'm like, yeah, if Khabib had fought Tony Ferguson, I feel Khabib would have won.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying I thought Tony Ferguson would win. And then, I don't know, you seen the Gaethje fight, and then you just sort of, I don't know, it was a bit of disappointment, really. I think I had him up in my head up here. She's so unorthodox and that, and not that there was any shame in that fight, man. He fought like a fucking soldier, like, you know what I mean? But I just felt like the way Gaethje ran through him, but then to see Gaethje get run through by Khabib, the whole division is just like, everyone's beating everyone except for Khabib.
There's a bit of a like a bit of a halt. I know Beneil Dariush, he kind of came out and said, he's like, nobody wants to fight in them divisions because the margin of error is so close. It's like, you know, any one of them can get a title shot, and then it's one loss, and then you just back like 5 faces. It's not like with a heavyweight division. It's like, do you know Tom Aspinall, the heavyweight fighter?
I know Tom, yeah.
Tom Aspinall. I use him as a good example. Like, I'd have watched quite a few
funny. Do you want to hear something funny? Back when he was at FCC, they were talking about Brent Tierney when I fought him. Tom Aspinall was the other name. There was him, and then the strongman guy from Next Gen, and Tom Aspinall was the other name that they offered me. And I knew his dad was Mick Grundy. And I just went, I don't want him. He's just a high-level wrestler. I don't want that. I don't need that drama.
So I didn't realise I've seen Tom Aspinall fight in where is it? It was in Liverpool, but where's the Olympia? The Olympia,
yeah. Oh yeah, because Gabon fights. A lot of Gabon's fighters start at the Olympia. A lot of the fights there.
He fought this guy that we know, Sean Kenny. I think, you know what you're saying about that strongest man.
That was a close fight. That was a close fight.
I remember watching it, and I said I went with Paul, and I was like, Sean Kenny's fighting. I was like, oh, this would be good, because Paul talks about Sean Kenny a lot back in the day, about like his strength and stuff, and like hard to deal with jiu-jitsu wise because he's just so strong. You can't really get away with stuff with him. And he fought Tom Aspinall, and Tom Aspinall just controlled him, just take down. He took him down at the start of the round, just kept him down, just kept doing it each round, and he got a decision in the end. So that was the first time I like seen Tom Aspinall, but I'll be honest, I didn't know who he was, didn't remember him. And then it wasn't until years later when got into the UFC, and then who did he? I think it was his debut or something. TKO'd someone in his debut, and it was like, this guy's good. But I use him as an example because
Tom Bankovic at FCC, wasn't he?
What? Sorry,
was it FCC in Manchester? He fought Tom Bankovic, and it was a first round knockout. That was when I saw him in a fought. That confirmed what I already knew. Because Tom Bankovic is high level, like he's good fighter.
Yeah. Man, I'll have to look at his record, but honestly, this was years ago. I'm pretty sure this is when Danny Roberts was fighting like for Cage Warriors. Like it was years ago. And then but with Tom Aspinall, I use him as an example because he says in interviews that, like, you know, I don't want to go for like the top people. I'm not ready yet. You know, I just want to kind of slowly go through the ranks. But unfortunately, like with the heavyweight division, you don't really get that. You don't get that kind of chance, really. You kind of like, I mean, in his third or fourth fight, he fights Andre Arlovsky, big name, and then you look good. You look good. You submitted him. Like people now know who you are. Like you got a bit of a following now. It's like, well, where do you go next then?
Well, that was a good fight. that was a good fight for Tom though, because put that, so UFC 61, I remember picking it up on DVD in fucking CEX in the train station because it had Ian Freeman fighting Andre Arlovsky on it. That was the one where Tito Ortiz fought Ken Shamrock. And then, so Andre Arlovsky's been around the block for, 15, 20 years.
Yeah,
so while he's a top-level athlete, I'm saying that, though, I think Tom's about 36, 37, isn't he? So Tom's got...
Tom Aspinall?
I think he is.
20s.
Is he his 20s?
20. I think he's around about my age, you know.
Might be me, mate. Might be me. I thought he was only a couple of years younger than me. He doesn't look it, but I thought he was. But he's been around the block, so he's a big name. He's an ex-UFC champion, beat Tim Sylvia and all that. He's recently had good form. One of the best fights in the last 3 years was the Travis Brown fight.
Mm-hmm.
And his hand speed in that fight, did you see it? Tom
Yeah, it was
Aspinall's hand speed. Fucking scary. And then that takedown in the second. Yeah, he looked good. He looked really good.
It was literally like the confidence in that takedown straight away just kind of got the choke. And you think to yourself, like, this is what I was thinking. I was like, but what next then? Because I just think if I was a heavyweight, I'll just have Ngannou at the back of my mind. I'd be thinking, fuck, like, okay, I'm winning all these fights. This is good. But then eventually I'm going to have to fight Ngannou. And like, fuck. But these are the heavyweights though. Like, these heavyweights now, these are athletic heavyweights. Like, gone are the days of just having big men, like, you know, just power. These are athletes now. So, like, they're big, they're strong, but they're also fast.
Yeah,
so
mate.
It's quite a scary time to be a heavyweight.
Yeah, 100%. Just while I'm talking to you, I'm looking at the heavyweight rankings now, just bringing it up. So we'll give you a few examples of who he's got. I wonder where Tom's actually, if he's ranked now or what. Let's have a look. So Tom Aspinall's ranked 13th.
13th.
Yeah, so you know what? From top 6, it looks tight.
Yeah.
But between top 6 and Tom, he looks like he's got an all right little run in him. He can probably get 2 fights out before he hits. Because Rosenstruck's 6th, Volkov's 5th, Gain at 4th, Blades, Derek Lewis, and then Ngannou and Stipe. So
who's who's number 10 then?
Number 10's Chris Dawkins.
Did he fight on the same card as him? Because I know to be fair to that Tom Aspinall, he did call out. He said there's 2 heavyweights fighting later on. So I could just get the winner of them too. Can't remember who they were though, to be honest.
No, to be honest with you, I didn't watch the majority of the cards. I watched Tom's fight just out of personal interest. So yeah, I don't know who else was on that card. I'm going to go back and have a look now, or not right now because we're on camera. But yeah, I've got a feeling he'll do all right. He'll get there in the mix in the top 5 or 6, I think, because his hand speed looks incredible.
Yeah, and his confidence as well. And I do like his attitude of like having that attitude of like wanting to take it slow. I just don't really think you have that luxury in the heavyweight division. I don't really feel that you can just kind of just creep up. But you never know.
It's one of those things though, you build a record, mate. You know, if you're in it, he doesn't strike me one of these as Tom, he's going to be doing all your McGregor type stuff of shouting at people and calling people out. Like you say, he's probably said, I'll fight the winner of this fight. No, such and such is a bell end. I want to fucking fight him. Like Darren Till is in the same gym. He's got that personality where he's going on about Raw Dog and he's got this thing with Mike Perry and that, which is fucking hilarious.
Tell you what, though, he does a good watch though. I've got one of his watches.
The
Amari watches. They're nice. They're good, you know. Yeah, like I've got it's a blue and gold one.
How much are you getting paid to say this?
Well, to be honest, he's actually going to come on the podcast eventually soon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Darren.
Like fuck. If I got Darren Till on the podcast, mate, I'd be happy. But
yeah, that would be good to be fair.
But Tom doesn't strike me as that type of fella.
No, he's not.
I mean, he might
No,
have to
he's
do
not.
it at some point.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's just his attitude of kind of like, you know, I'm not at that level yet. I don't really want to fight them yet. Then we just kind of creep our way up. And I do love that attitude, and I think it's smart. But it's like, again, because he's ranked 13th. Okay, yeah, as you said, then he's got two more fights. So maybe like what, another year then, 2 fights a year maybe. So another year, and then you're fighting the elite if you win them too. Scary, but you know what? That's why he's in it though. But if he didn't believe he could win, then he wouldn't be in it.
Well,
But
I say 2 more fights. If he fights someone a couple of ranks above him and KOs him, or chips him, or does whatever he does, then you might have a bit of a mix at the top, and they say, well, let's give someone who's on a good win streak. Because if you've got a couple of people at the top who've got a loss, then you're looking further down the rankings for someone on a win streak to
But they all have though. They're all trading losses. I mean, the next guy was Curtis Blades, and obviously he's just got knocked out against Derek Lewis. So Derek Lewis has got all the momentum. So, but then you got the fact that now John Jones moving up. Now, like that's exciting for the heavyweights and for me. I mean, I've been wanting John Jones to move up for years. Like I wanted to see John Jones and Cain Velasquez. I wanted that fight so bad.
Yeah.
I was gutted that never happened, to be honest.
I'm just gutted about Cain's career because there was so much potential with him. I mean, he did have a good career.
Yeah.
I mean, is he still going to fight, or is he retired now? Or
last time I seen him was in wrestling.
right.
He went into the Mexican wrestling.
What, is a luchador?
Is it a problem with me watching wrestling, Neill?
What? No, there's no problem. No problem.
He went into the Mexican wrestling, and then he went into the WWE. But obviously, because of the coronavirus and all that, they terminated his contract. Money. I could be lying. I'll be honest. I could be chatting shit there. But
what the fuck did you pick it up for then?
I think I think that is the case. I'm just thinking, like problems with money and stuff. I just got, could be that. But yeah, Cain Velasquez's career, though. You heard it here first. Cain Velasquez's career, though, gutted on that. But I remember when he fought Ngannou. So the lad from my old work, Sean, he was asking for my opinion and stuff, and I said, I'm telling you right now, Cain Velasquez destroys him first round. Won't even be close. I was like, he's going to take him down and he's going to destroy him. And then obviously that happened, and I was like, fuck. And I said, I was like, the old Cain Velasquez, because I can't picture this new Cain Velasquez with like the injured Cain Velasquez and all that. Like, I just imagine the old Cain, and I just imagine going out and dominating everyone.
There was hope, wasn't there, at the UFC 200 when he destroyed Travis Brown?
Yeah, through like a wheel kick, wasn't it? Through like a wheel kick. Just proper like adding new things to his arsenal and stuff, and then I don't think he fought again like another 2 years or something. Frustrating, very frustrating.
Yeah, mate.
But I read that I thought that it was wasn't it something to do with with all the injuries? It was kind of like, well, why is he getting injured? Yeah, but apparently it was his old strength and conditioning coach just had him doing the wrong type of exercises, or like the movement with the weights or something. It was it really ruined his back.
There's a massive thing coming out of his gym though, where they just spar so hard, because he spars with DC and all that. Although you don't see DC injured that much, but there's a number of injuries that come out of that gym because of the way they spar. Now there's a guy, Paul Taylor, from sort of Birmingham, Sheffield ways, who went over. Now he's a big puncher. I think his last fight that I saw was Jeff Munson. And he was always sort of at that level where he could have maybe gone over and done something like UFC, but I think he was maybe always a fight or two away. And I've been watching his Facebook. I hope he doesn't mind me saying, like, putting his Facebook on.
He won't.
He was doing the sparring for Cain Velasquez, and every day it was just another message about shit. They train on another fucking level. Like, they are just out of this world. And for him, it must have been amazing to go over and like train with them and all that.
Yeah.
But I think like from the Facebook posts he was putting on at the time, like, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but like they're just fucking, they're nuts. They go in hard.
Was this all of them, or was this just
I think he was
DC
the
and Cain?
sparring partner for Cain. I can't
Yeah,
remember what fight it was.
they've said that they do go like just proper all out, them two. It's kind of shame in it, because it's like, obviously they said they'll never fight each other, but yeah, who would you say then? Both heavyweight, DC and Cain. If they fought, who would you say wins?
Right now, DC, but if he was in his prime, Cain.
Prime. Both heavyweight.
Fucking hell, don't want a long pause on the podcast, but it's a tough one. I'd still say prime Cain, although he's been more susceptible in his career to knockouts and stuff like that DC has. Because other than John Jones, when has DC really suffered?
He's only suffered twice, Stipe and John Jones.
Yeah.
The DC one, it was the body shots, wasn't it? And then he got caught against the fence. So yeah, he's only been finished twice.
And that's at the latter end.
John Jones.
That's at the latter end of a long career as well.
Yeah. Before that, like, he wasn't even. I mean, he was not.
He was Strikeforce champion.
Strikeforce, yeah, and he was known as the Black Fedor. People gave him that name, the Black Fedor, because he used to fight pretty much like Fedor in regards to like just the wrestling, move forward. He's powerful. Like when he knocked out Bigfoot Silver in Strikeforce, and he was a proper underdog in that fight as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you not feel though everybody's knocked out Bigfoot Silver though?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I only know Bigfoot Silver because he beat Fedor. I remember I was gutted, to be honest. Like that, like Fedor, that his first proper loss against Fabricio Verdum. Like I was in school. I was in school when that happened. You know? Yeah, I was in school, and I didn't watch it live or anything. It was only in like, I think Paul mentioned it to me in school and stuff, and I was like, what? And then I went home. And then looking at Wikipedia and stuff, and I was like, what? Like, I cannot believe he lost. Like, and he submitted as well, got submitted.
So, is my memory right in this? Verdum got kicked out the UFC, beat Fedor, and then came back, didn't he?
Yeah, so we got, I don't know if he got kicked out or anything, but I think in my memory, he got knocked out against Junior Dos Santos. And then he went away for a bit, and then fought in like other leagues and stuff, and then went into Strikeforce, and then then he tapped out Verdum by a triangle, and then went back into the UFC, and then won on an absolute tear. Then and was eventually
stopped him, wasn't it? Steve hit him on the back foot with that overhand, didn't he?
Yeah, but it was like, I mean, just before that time, it was like he was the guy that we were saying, how do you beat him then? Like he finished Cain Velasquez, submitted Cain Velasquez, and it was just like, what do you do? And then Stipe came along, and then we're now in the Stipe era, or soon to be in the Ngannou era, soon to be.
What an era though! He's took some names off the list, like, hasn't he?
Stipe has, or Verdum, sorry.
Verdum did, Stipe. Like, yeah. I mean, like you said, Fedor, Velasquez. You can't knock those two names. But the Velasquez, sorry, before you go, there was altitude problems with that. They fought it in Mexico. Verdum went up and did his altitude training, and Velasquez thought, fuck it. And while people will say, you could physically see Cain Velasquez's biggest trait, despite not looking like it, was his cardio. And you could see him gassed in the second round. Yeah. It looked like a physical difference.
It's like that nickname that he gets, isn't it? Sea level Cain. You can't beat sea level Cain.
Yeah.
But that shocked me, to be honest. Like seeing that a tired Cain Velasquez was like, oh mate, like why didn't he just go up to like Mexico sooner? But like Fabricio Verdum, though, so prepared, like he did that and stuff. Like, but when he fought Stipe, remember he was doing that jokey face, wasn't he? It was just, like his mindset just wasn't there. It was weird. It was like he was joking around, kept smiling and stuff, and you're fighting Stipe, dead serious. Like, yeah, that was an exciting fight. That one, when that fight got announced in the build up to that one, that was quite special because Stipe was just like, you just knew he was going to be a guy that like if he didn't win, it was going to be a close fight. Like, it was not going to be easy. Like, and obviously we see what happened, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, look, we were meant to do a 20-minute one on Masvidal, and
what time is it now? How long have we been on?
it's 4 o'clock in the morning. No, but it's been good, Ashley. So what we'll do is we'll wrap up now. Anybody who's watching, Ashley's going to be back on this week with me. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe buttons. Leave your comments. Anything that we've said that you agree with, disagree with, whatnot. If you don't like Ashley's haircut and beard, you think he could have tidied himself up, just put the comments in the bottom. But we'll see you this week. Go on.
See you later, everyone.
One way fighting.